Hey everyone, we're here for the law class. This is our project. I'm with Jahmal, Jonny, and we're here to talk about the Church of Pot. Johnny's just going to summarize the case right now.
So in September 2006, two undercover cops went into the Church of Pot House, which is their church. The brother Peter Shirak and brother Shuraz Kajari were arrested under trafficking marijuana. They feel that violates their freedoms of religion under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
So Peter Shiraz, who's 53, and Sharus Kajani, who's 32, said in their challenge that the church's central belief was that smoking marijuana enabled them to communicate with God, meaning that parts of the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act infringe on their religious freedoms.
The two men are ministers at the G13 Mission in Toronto, which is a church, an organic plant store, allegedly an illegal source of marijuana. The church believes that marijuana use is a part of the road to a greater understanding of God and the universe.
The Church of Universe believes that the Church of Universe said it only wants to be allowed to use marijuana for religious purposes in the same way that it is used for medical uses.
Pot smoking under the Church of the Universe members say that the ruling upholds Canada's marijuana control laws won't be in effect in the way they communicate with God. Pot is the way that they communicate with God, and this is what they believe in.
The Universe was in court today.
A fringe group in the beaches called the Church of the Universe went to court to be exempted from Canada's marijuana laws. It argued its members have a constitutional right to smoke pot because it's part of their belief system. It also argued that its reverends should have the right to grow and distribute marijuana. But the judge said distributing pot does not deserve protection as a religious freedom.
When does the criminal code trump the charter right to religious freedom? An Ontario court has ruled a banned substance like marijuana cannot be exempted even if the followers of the Church of the Universe smoke pot as their sacrament. Some people try to drown their sorrows in booze, but not members of the Church of the Universe. Instead, they turn to the focal point of their religion, marijuana. Smoking marijuana is a religious experience, they argue. A toke, a direct connection to God, cannabis being the tree of life.
I worship God, yes, and marijuana is part of that worship.
Do you have any words, brother?
Spirituality still intact here at the High Court. The Church of the Universe and the Toronto Hash Mob still believes in the spiritual use of cannabis, despite what the judge says today.
In her ruling today, Madam Justice Herman wrote, "While the applicant's religious beliefs may seem absurd to some or to many, that is not the basis on which to challenge those beliefs. And while she found that the church was entitled to some protection under religious grounds, she dismissed the application."
And as a reverend in the Church of the Universe, I still believe in sharing my sacrament with members of the church and will continue to do so despite their ruling today.
Prosecutors were quite worried that if the ruling had gone the other way, there'd be an awful lot of people in court claiming they were using marijuana for religious purposes.
The judge did say that we do have the right to use it. She just didn't know how to implement it for us. That was the problem.
So we're here to analyze and evaluate the problem in the case. So the definition of a crime is an action or instance of negligence that is deemed harmful to the public, whether it be morals or the interests of the state, and what is legally prohibited. So we're here to answer the question, how is the Church of Pot committing a crime they're trying to fight for and what they believe in as a religion? So the arguments go as follows, that from the Crown. So all religions should have a supernatural dimension, whether it be God, gods, ghosts, or spirits, and must help people live their lives through such paradoxes such as life, death, good and evil, and order and disorder. So they must have a source of authority from a scripture or an ancestral teaching, or magical structure such as the Catholic Church, so a system of symbols, sacred times such as holy holidays, sacred places such as temples and pilgrimage routes. So Johnny, keep going.
As well as ethical systems and taboos offer a comprehensive way of life, a sustainable group, not just as individuals. The Church of Pot is trying to be a group of people, not just individuals that are allowed to smoke pot. The judge is arguing that the religion has no comprehensive way of life, a supernatural dimension, and has no God or gods to believe in. But the church believes that smoking means they are being able to see God and being able to have their own religion.
In the disposition from Ontario legalizing marijuana, it states that the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act of 1996 is constitutionally invalid and has no source or effect. Therefore, not being a true law on Ontario, this law needs to be reevaluated within the next 40 days to help the Church of Pot win their appeal.
So we're here to propose a solution in terms of the Church of Pot and the aspect of the systems.
If the government were to legalize marijuana, in this case would not be taking place anymore. Marijuana would be legal. So Parliament needs to figure out what they're going to do with marijuana before the Church of Pot leaders are sentenced or punished anymore.
So the government should decide what a real religion is and how to make its own decisions with religion in regards to religion and laws and restrictions. There needs to be more restrictions on what can be classified as a real religion to make it possible to create new religions. So in a sense, one of the reasons why the Church of Pot members were charged is because they didn't. I mean, not charged. The reason why they didn't win the case is because the judge could not define what a religion was, and general members of the public could come in and say they're members of the Church of Pot, and that wouldn't really help them because they can just getting free marijuana and not actually be practicing a religion. So there needs to be a better way to regulate religions in a sense and how people can create new religions. So there needs to be a better way for the Crown and the Ontario government or Canadian government, a better way for them to regulate religions and to really define one, because that was one of the main reasons why they didn't win the case.
Identifying the key issues that and connections with the aspect of the criminal system we are critiquing.
For the law enforcement aspect of the criminal law system, we believe that people who are in the Church of Pot should not be arrested for smoking marijuana or giving marijuana to other people within the Church of Pot religion. If the Canadian government is going to legalize marijuana, there is no point in arresting and charging these people for trying to start a religion about pot.
For the court and adjudication aspect of the criminal system, we believe that the courts should try to better the way they come to a conclusion of guilty or non-guilty within the religion, making a religion aspect. Through having the answers to what a religion is and how to develop a new religion, they should figure out a new way of how to determine what is a real religion.